I'm Rich Harris and welcome back to my Simply Gourmet series, where I'll be sharing my kitchen secrets with you to take the stress out of entertaining and take your dinner party to the next level. In this episode, I'm showing you my hearty ox cheek ragu with homemade herb gnocchi. Okay, so first step is just to heat some oil in a pan. The beauty of this dish lies in the beef. I'm using ox cheek. It's one of the toughest cuts of beef because it does all the work. Cows are always chewing, so this is really tough, but has worked really hard, so it's full of flavour. The only way to cook this is long and slow. If we were to pan fry this now as a steak, it'd be tough as old boots. So what we need to do is cook it really slowly, break that meat down, and it's going to be delicious and really rich and soft. I'm going to season our beef with plenty of salt and pepper. Give it a quick rub. And then we need to fry these in batches, so just do them one at a time. And we're going to get loads of colour on there, loads of caramelisation. Fry these hard and fast for a good couple of minutes, get loads of colour on them, and then we take them out of the pan, and then we're going to start building our sauce. So our beef is nice and caramelised now. Now it's time to add the shallots. Straight into the pan. I'm just going to fry these fast, just to take on a little bit of colour. It's going to take a good 3 or 4 hours of slow cooking, but it's worth it, trust me. So now I need to add the garlic. I've just got 2 finely sliced cloves here. Don't worry about pureeing them or crushing them because they're going to disintegrate with all the slow cooking. So straight in. 1 bay leaf, just add that. And some tomato puree as well. So next we need to add the red wine. Make sure you use quite a decent quality red wine because the flavour is going to really show through in the ragu. I would always say never cook with a wine that you wouldn't drink. So we just need to bring that to the boil and boil it just for a couple of minutes to burn off the alcohol. Once you can just smell the rich wine flavours but none of that alcohol burn, you're ready for the next bit. So just a couple of tins of tomatoes. And then about 500 ml of good quality beef stock. And then put the beef back in the pan. Now at the moment that looks really liquidy, but don't forget it will reduce right down in cooking, so it's going to have a good 4 hours in the oven. So make sure the beef's completely submerged. If you have any of the beef poking out the top, what will happen is it'll get a bit dry and a bit crusty, so make sure it's all under the liquid and then stick a lid on. Bring it up to the boil and then stick it in the oven for about 3 or 4 hours, around about 150 degrees, and give it a stir every now and again. For a full list of ingredients for this recipe, check out the description box. A lot of people are quite daunted by the prospect of making gnocchi from scratch, but it really is very simple. I've got some really nice dry mashed potato. It's just gone through a ricer and it's really light and fluffy. We want to try and keep these as light as we possibly can. You could just make a plain gnocchi, but I want to freshen it up with some nice herbs. So I've got some parsley and some basil. Just bunch them together, scrunch them up and give them a good chop. Okay, so just scoop up the herbs and straight into the potatoes. So to the gnocchi we want to add a teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, and 150 grams of flour. So now this is where we need to be quite careful. Just work the mixture very lightly till it just comes together. If you start working the dough too hard, you're going to end up with gnocchi that's like little potato bullets. So we want to just work it very gently. So now it's all started to form together to make a rough dough. We just need to get our hands in and bring it together. Take about half the dough, turn it out onto a work surface, and just bring it together to form a rough sausage shape. And get some flour and just give the work surface and the dough just a light dusting of flour. So just chop the dough in half and just work with relatively small sections to start with. And then just cut small bite-sized pieces of the gnocchi and flick away with a knife. Now grab a baking tray, dust it with a bit more flour and drop the gnocchi onto the tray. So what I like to do is just pick up the gnocchi and with floured fingers just pinch slightly so you end up with a kind of bow tie shape. And these lovely little grooves in here will pick up all the sauce. So put these in the fridge and that'll just let them firm up a bit before we cook them. Our gnocchi's in the fridge, our ragu's been cooking for a good 4 hours now and the meat's falling apart. It smells incredible. So what we need to do now is just take the meat and just carefully lift it out and put it on a chopping board. Get rid of our bay leaf. And this is the magic bit. This is where you realise why you've used the beef cheek. It's just going to fall apart. So just taking a fork, just push with the back of the fork and shred the meat. So if this dish has got your mouth watering and you want to see more recipes in my series, click the subscribe button, follow us on Twitter or find us on Facebook. Alright, so that's looking amazing. The meat's all shredded up, it's ready to go back in our sauce, and then all we need to do is warm it through. These have been in the fridge for about 10 minutes and they're nice and firm and ready to go in the pan. Pan of water, a nice rolling boil, and we're just going to drop all the gnocchi straight in. And then these are going to cook for literally about 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so I've drained my gnocchi. Now I want to put them back in the pan with just a little bit of the ragu. So I just want to add a couple of spoonfuls, just enough to coat the gnocchi. So give it a bit of a shake round. Okay, so there we are, we're all ready to plate up. Nice mound of gnocchi and then a little bit more ragu over the top. And then just to finish with, a nice grating of Parmesan cheese. So there we have it, my sumptuous ox cheek ragu with herb gnocchi. Guaranteed to impress. And if you've enjoyed this recipe, I look forward to seeing you back in the kitchen again soon for another episode of my Simply Gourmet series.